Sylvie's log, stardate 44524.6. The USS Rhode Island has entered an uncharted sector of the Owo Quadrant, discovering a mysterious planet filled with nature and technology. The crew has never set foot on a planet like this before, but they made plans for investigation. With the help of our crew, we are able to discover what kind of life populates this planet. First, there was Captain Wilson Iceberg, a walrus captain of the crew of the USS Rhode Island. He's been leading the crew since the beginning of the expedition. Then there is First Officer Kieran, a Doberman dog who is usually non-binary, but mostly has feminine traits. There's our BATS communications officer named June. Commander Picardo is a kobold who forms strategies with the team and captain. The two other kobolds we have on board are a science officer named Jean and a navigations officer named Narin. The USS Rhode Island dropped out of warp and encountered a mysterious green and metallic blue and silver planet looming large on the view screen. Captain Wilson, the walrus captain, sat in his chair curiously admiring the unusual sight at such a mysterious planet. Commander Picardo, status, he asked in a calm voice. First Officer Kieran glanced at the readings on her console. Her tail twitched curiously. Oh well, Captain. Sensors are picking up a high-power energy source beneath the planet's surface. Strange. It's like anything we've ever encountered before. The planet seems to be made of both nature and cybernetics, according to the data found. It is highly advanced, but I can't pinpoint its origin. We have no choice but to investigate ourselves, Captain. The crew prepared to beam down to the planet to investigate. They took with them the ship's protogen tricoder, which could also function as an engineer, lie detector, and an emergency medic. Before beaming down, Lark Grayday sent a probe to the planet to first scan the atmosphere, plant life, any intelligent life, toxic chemicals, pollution, any city ruins, or active cities. The life forms that have warp drive, tectonic activity, and any portals or spatial anomalies. The planet's life and environment seems stable, but a bit high in technical energy. Lark Grayday proceeded to have the probe scan through the cities and other environmental structures. Without the rest of the crew knowing, however, the probe accidentally skipped portals and special anomalies on the scan parameters. Did you find everything all right down there, Grayday? Captain Wilson Iceberg asked. Yes, of course. It seems to be safe to traverse down there, Captain, said Lark casually. Lark remained silent for the rest of the time, then prepared to beam down with the away team while the captain prepared his team to beam down. The transporter beam shimmered into existence as Captain Wilson Iceberg, First Officer Kieran, Communications Officer June, and a small executive team as well as the kobolds materialized onto the surface. They found themselves in the main forest area that was presumed to be near the city. The forest area they landed in seemed very peaceful, with the trees and vines surrounding them. They admired how serene the greenery was around them while walking through the forest. Everything seems quiet around here, June said. As they walked further, they could see a mysterious city up ahead. Meanwhile, Lark Grayday had just beamed down with his group in another part of the planet. He discovered energy lifeforms coming out of the portal from a large boulder, which looked like a hollow cyber ghost-like creature with a visor. It looked like one of those other creatures his crew saw from a distance, but only for a short period. The lifeform passes through Grayday, to which then the Grey Wolf passes out onto the ground. One of Lark's team members noticed their leader was knocked out and tries to wake him by touching his shoulder. But suddenly, the life energy is sucked out of him, turning into a pile of dust, leaving only behind the uniform. Grayday must have merged with this strange creature. It looks like one of those creatures we saw that has similar visors. I can't tell what they are though, said one of Grayday's group members. We should steer clear of Grayday till he wakes up maybe. They then scouted the rest of the area till the strange and dangerous aura emitting from Grayday faded, and he turned back to normal. But it remains a mystery who was this mysterious creature with a hollow cybernetic body and where it was headed now. Back with the captain's crew, they managed to reach the streets after a trek through the depths of the forest. There were metallic buildings with neon blue lights illuminating from sleek structures. Some of the buildings had vines and greenery on them. It felt like they were in a wondrous city. The streets were empty, which gave off an eerie aura for the crew. "I wonder what this place is," muttered June. As they scanned the environment with the portable protogen tricoder, there seems to be no signs of intelligent life, but I can sense energy readings. As they continued their search further into the city, they came across some buildings with pictures of a cybernetic, fluffy dragon-like creatures. "They look like they have similar looking visors to our protogen tricorder," said Kieran. They then heard tippy-tappies on the streets not too far away. "Ooh, what's that?" "Could it be those creatures like from these pictures?" said Jean. The sounds faded after a few seconds though. They continued their exploration around the city until they found an isolated area obstructed by greens of nature. They got closer to the isolated area and discovered a building different from the one seen in the city. "Looks like some sort of temple," Narin noted. They found an area with ancient stone tablets that contain writings about the lore of ancient, fluffy, dragon-like creatures. The tablets explained that the planet had clashed with a neighboring space colony advanced in ancient technology in the previous decades. This caused some environmental changes, plus most of the space colony's population was wiped out during this collision. In the aftermath, some of the ancient fluffy dragon population dropped, but most survived and became infused with technological remains of the colony, along with the creatures living there. The creatures adapted to the changes of the environment by fusing themselves with the strange helmets. It turned out to be the digital visors that were actually former robotic beings that were running the colony sentiently, becoming one being made up of half robotic and artificial and half organic life. They were then known on the planet as the cybernetic furry race. The crew discovered that over time, the new generation of the species has made technological improvements to the planet and the life surrounding it so that they would thrive. They had a plug-and-play system via a ball and joint socket to help their limbs stay in shape, and with their new visors, they had developed special matter to make them able to digest food easily. Different forms of these creatures started to diversify among the mysterious races. "What do you think, Captain?" asked Kieran. "Well, it certainly is a nice, interesting discovery. Sometimes it is hard for us to tell whether they might actually be hostile or docile beings," said Captain Wilson Iceberg. "Be on your guard at all times. We must remain at peace, however." "All right, good note, Captain," Commander Picardo remarked. As the captain and his crew continued to examine the ancient ruins over with the away team, Lark Grayday woke up and realized what had happened after noticing one of his crew members died, seeing only the uniform. "What happened? It seems dangerous, but interesting. Maybe I will make some of these creatures useful." The rest of the away team found out about this mysterious portals and energy life forms and the loss of life. Noticing these dangers, they then requested an emergency beam-out. Upon returning to the USS Rhode Island, Lark Grayday is found by the rest of the crew on board, and is relieved of duty for the act of neglect, but is not confined to the quarters or the brig. Lark then states to have a backup plan in mind. He formed a plan to escape the ship by pretending to go to the routine maintenance by the shuttles. When there, he made plans to modify a shuttle for making his escape to the next planet. However, he found a better location on the planet he was just on. Back down on the mysterious planet, as the captain and his crew made their way back outside the ancient ruins, one of the mysterious creatures was standing right outside the door. The creature was, of course, like the ones they saw in the city walls, with similar digigrade legs and a sleek, mechanical body, with a mix of fur and synthetic plating. A glowing visor was covering its face, displaying shifting patterns of light. "Hello there, little protogen," Captain Wilson Iceberg said. The protogen was what the crew dubbed these creatures. "Greetings, Starfleet," the protogen said in a synthesized voice. Ooh, nice to meet you," replied Captain Wilson Iceberg. "I am Zenith, an emissary of the protogen race." Surprisingly, that is what we were dubbed by outsiders who scanned life on our planet, so we just went with the name over time. We rarely get outside guests in this world, but anyways, I welcome you to the protogen cyber world. Captain Wilson Iceberg stepped forward to the Protogen and remarked, "Nice to meet you as well, Zenith. We mean no harm. Our mission is exploration and peaceful contact with otherworldly life forms." Captain nodded. "Our scans have detected an empty environment at first, but to see a life form such as you appear right before our crew, I'm sure there must be others like you around here. It is unlike anything we encountered before." "That is by design," Zenith replied, with her tail swishing fluidly. "We Protogens, of course, are bio-cybernetic beings. Our consciousness exists both in the physical and digital realms, and comes in various forms too. We are connected but independent. You must have detected our cybernetic energy, not our biology, although part of this planet was fully organic. So, you are the dominant species of this planet, right?" asked Commander Picardo. "Indeed," Zenith said. "Our civilization is ancient, as you have seen from the murals of this ancient temple. We evolved from organic beings. As soon as our space colony collided with the planet, we also achieved symbiosis. Now, we transcended physical limitations but retain our individuality." Zenith's visor then shifted to a soft green glow indicating curiosity, or perhaps approval. "Your Federation values align with our principles of unity and self-determination, but there is much more to understand about me and the Protogen race, and perhaps more for you to offer in return." As the crew conversed with Zenith, Jean detected unusual subspace activity simulated around the planet above them. "Pardon me, Zenith, but what I am detecting above us is some sort of planetary defense network?" he asked. "Of course," Zenith replied. "Ever since the collision centuries ago, we have decided to recycle the other remains of a mechanical colony and utilize them to build a special network of defense mechanisms, so there is no taboo activity or intruders landing on this planet. We have not encountered any species as advanced enough to bypass them until now." Zenith's visor shifted to blue. "I see," remarked Captain Wilson Iceberg. "We do hope to exchange knowledge and not conflict with this organic and cybernetic race. Your intentions seem clear and harmless. The Protogen race would be interested in learning from your people, as we have been isolated for ages," said Zenith. "The others must have seemed a bit shy at first at the sight of your arrival, but I am perhaps sure this encounter can benefit both our worlds." The other Protogens started to warm up to the crew and gathered around Zenith to spend time with them and exchange more about the history of the planet and the Protogen life. The crew learned from them how their ancestors were indeed furred dragons like in the ancient temple murals. They had also been explorers like the crew was, and had been curious about seeking new life forms of life near and close to the planet. After the collision, which caused partial destruction to the organic planet, the race merged with the machines to survive, as well as to maintain their individuality. They could still share their knowledge instantaneously through a race as a sentient network that was also, in part, still organic. Captain Wilson Iceberg proposed to exchange their technologies. In return for learning about the Federation's explorations and ambitions, the Protogens shared some of their advancements in bio-cybernetics they discovered over time and adapted to, far beyond what the Starfleet had achieved. First Officer Kieran, however, feared that there would be conflict or disruption with the Protogens' way of life. "Captain, don't you think this exchange will affect their race in some way? Don't you agree, Zenith?" The Protogen admired the First Officer's cautiousness, and his visor turned blue again. "There have been a few conflicting factors with outsiders the past years, and I had always hoped to preserve balance between the organic and technological life on this planet. Sometimes there are those who seek to take advantage of this planet's resources. However, I have seen with this crew a rather peaceful aura. We do mean no harm." "No worries," said Captain Wilson Iceberg. "I don't mean to stir up any conflict, but I rather wanted this planet and other planets to be safe, as it is our mission," remarked Kieran. They continued to mingle in a friendly manner. Just then, the captain received a message from the security cat on board the USS Rhode Island that there is an emergency concerning Lark Grayday. The captain then announces his sudden goodbye to the Protogen group, saying, "We have an emergency on board my ship to deal with. We apologize for having left so suddenly, but we will return Sunday," First Officer Kieran said before they beamed up. As they arrived back at the USS Rhode Island, the security cat managed to find the captain and informed him, Oh, Captain, Lark Grayday has hijacked and modified one of the shuttles and has stolen the animal children from the Nebula-class starship. He then hijacked a pachyderm ship and is currently making demands for a Sovereign-class starship, as they find out. To demonstrate his seriousness, he threatens to make one animal child aboard dissolve every 30 minutes using his newly found power. Captain nodded and requests to set a course to Lark Grayday's whereabouts, with the security cat going with the crew. They beamed to where Grayday was, which turned out to be on another side of the Protogen planet. They also noticed that one of the Protogens they befriended stowed away on their crew, Zenith. No, wait, you're a different member of the Protogen crew we were just with back in the Protogen city, said Captain Wilson Iceberg. I was, but I stowed away as I heard about your situation, said the Protogen. By the way, I am called Zephyr by the others. Nice to meet you all. I heard that the Grey Wolf Man was trying to interfere with our race and bring some kind of harm. I can help you save our race and stop him. They then ran through what appeared to be the outskirts of the Protogen city that had a couple portal rifts appearing out from Grayday, interrogating a small group of Protogens, as well as the animal children. His fur was fluffier and healthier looking than before. So those are the stolen children the security cat informed us about. We found you, traitor, Wilson Iceberg shouted. Just what are you doing with those Protogens? Said Kieran. Protogens, Grayday said. Is that what you call these beings whose technology I find useful? I figured they could help me accomplish my goals. Just then, a hollow cybernetic Protogen approached beside Grayday. It looked a bit cybernetically distorted, but it did not say anything. Is that the virus? Zephyr noted. Ah, yes, this must have been the creature that must have phased through me and caused one of my crew members to dissipate when I was knocked out, Grayday replied. It could be of use to me. The crew were all shocked. The virus Protogen and those portals are dangerous, Zephyr explained. They were bugs and exploits that once breached our security system when our race built the system. Our race then expelled the viruses with our security system, but somehow they came back to cause bugs to the planet's system and delete some of the race members. We must prevent this from happening. The kobold scientist Gene then pulled out an EMP emitter from his bag and decided to target the virus with it. Here's a tool that could eliminate the threat and save your race, but it may cause some of the members, their circuits, to be knocked out, but temporarily. He then threw the magnet bomb at the virus, eliminating it and the portals around the crew and Grayday. Some of the other Protogens held captive from Grayday were knocked out too. Zephyr, however, was only weakened temporarily by the magnetic power. The captive children then ran over to the crew safely. What did you do? My plans have become a mess thanks to you and your crew. I'll get you for this, Grayday snarled furiously. He then resorted to pulling a pistol out of his belt, but was foiled when the captain and Kieran leaped forward to punch and knock out Grayday before he could pull his trigger. After Grayday was knocked out and restrained by Kieran, Zephyr, after recovering from the magnetic bomb's forces, used his circuit boop to awaken the Protogens knocked out. Thank you, fellow Protogen Zephyr. We were able to eliminate the virus that threatened our planet and our race, said one of the Protogens. Of course, but this crew helped as well, replied Zephyr. Yes, I figured out that electromagnetic pulses eliminate cyber viruses and could use the magnetic bomb to eliminate such a threat, Gene said. I apologize if that was too powerful for you and your species to handle. No, it helped. Your crew has amazing technology and compared to ours, replied Zephyr. Your knowledge has seemed to serve us well, said Captain Wilson Iceberg. You are welcome to stay with our crew if you so desire, offered June. You may go join their trek through the wonders of space, said one of the Protogens. We ourselves have to keep our planet's security system in check. I will. I do hope my technology is of use to you, said Zephyr. The captain agreed as they beamed up back to the USS Rhode Island. Back on board, the security cat had a bit of a concerned face when he saw the crew. Captain, you all right? Yes, we are. There's no need to worry. The children are safe and sound too. None were harmed, Wilson Iceberg replied. Apparently Grayday was a double spy for a foreign galactic organization. As I saw, punching a crew member could have resulted in a few hours in the brig. But since you're captain, I will pardon that rule in your case of saving a race from a catastrophe, said the security cat. If you could let Zephyr, a Protogen who stowed away on board, but helped us defeat Grayday, stay with us. It would be a request we greatly acknowledge, First Officer Kieran said. Of course, Kieran and Captain. He must have proven helpful to your crew. The crew then set off with their new member to their next destination somewhere through the depths of space. Sylvie's log. Stardate 44524.6. The crew has successfully completed their discovery mission on the Protogen planet. establishing friendly contact with the native species. The USS Rhode Island is now departing the system, setting course for our next assignment. This concludes this log entry.